All right, so we're diving into reputation management today.
Uh-huh.
You know how important your personal reputation is, right?
Yeah.
But for businesses operating globally,
Sure.
it's even more crucial.
Uh-huh.
We're looking at this article from Stature Optics Management,
Okay.
and their whole bare knuckles reputation management thing has me intrigued.
Interesting.
So let's see what they have to say about keeping your business's reputation squeaky clean on the world stage.
Okay, yeah. So they start by saying that reputation is currency, not some fuzzy concept. They're saying straight up,
Yeah.
your reputation is a tangible asset.
Okay, so no punches pulled there.
All right.
But,
Yeah.
how do they back that up?
Well, they cite a study from Weber Shandwick,
Okay.
and they found that 63%
Wow.
of a company's market value is tied to its reputation.
63%.
Yeah.
That's huge.
That's more than half.
Yeah.
That should make any executive sit up and pay attention.
It really puts things into perspective.
Uh-huh.
Every tweet, every press release,
Customer interaction.
all of it.
Yeah.
It's like building a financial portfolio, but instead of stocks and bonds,
Right.
it's trust and perception.
Exactly.
And I guess just like with a financial portfolio,
Uh-huh.
your reputation can tank pretty quickly.
For sure. And they bring up a pretty dramatic example to make that point.
Okay, I'm listening.
Volkswagen.
Ah, yes.
The emissions scandal.
Oh, what a mess.
It cost them $25 billion.
Wow.
Volkswagen, a company known for quality and engineering,
Right.
suddenly synonymous with deception because they tried to cut corners and hide their action.
It's a reminder that anyone can fall,
Uh-huh.
even giants.
Yeah,
And it seems like the fallout from something like that can last for years.
definitely.
So it wasn't just about the fines and legal battle.
Right.
It was about a complete breakdown of trust.
Yeah, with
No,
customers.
with investors.
With the public.
So if Volkswagen is a cautionary tale,
Uh-huh.
who does Stature Optics hold up as the gold standard?
Well, they point to Apple and Nike
Okay.
as masters of the reputation game.
Interesting.
And it's not just about having a cool product or a catchy slogan.
Right.
It's about having a consistent brand identity
Okay.
that resonates with your audience and reinforces your values.
So it sounds like something more than marketing.
Yeah.
It's like building a culture of reputation management
Exactly.
that permeates every part of the business.
That's it.
And Apple and Nike are known for having a strong internal culture
Right.
that matches their external messaging.
Uh-huh.
I mean, their employees are some of their biggest advocates
It's true.
because they believe in the company.
Uh-huh.
It makes sense.
Yeah.
Your employees are the ones interacting with customers
For sure.
and representing your brand online.
Right.
It's like they're building an army of brand ambassadors,
Yeah.
but instead of paying them,
Uh-huh.
they're inspiring them.
Right. And that kind of authenticity is priceless.
Okay, so Apple and Nike have figured out how to win on their home turf.
Sure.
But what about when you take your business international?
Yeah.
That's a whole different ballgame.
It is.
And the article really stresses the importance of cultural sensitivity
Uh-huh.
because what works in one country
Right.
might totally flop in another.
Yeah, they use Dolce & Gabbana's ad campaign in China as a prime example of what not to do.
Oh, yeah.
The chopsticks thing.
Yeah, what a disaster.
It was tone deaf
Uh-huh.
and perceived as racist by many.
Right.
And the backlash was swift.
Yeah.
Boycotts,
Huh.
millions in lost revenue.
So it's a reminder that you can't assume your message will translate across cultures.
Yeah.
You have to do your research,
Yeah.
understand the nuances,
Right.
and avoid causing offense.
Definitely.
But it's not just about avoiding mistakes.
Uh-huh.
The article highlights KFC's success in China
Yeah.
as an example of cultural adaptation done right.
Uh-huh.
They localized their menu,
Right.
that market.
Even their restaurant design.
So it's about embracing and celebrating different cultures,
Yeah.
showing respect,
Mhm.
and building genuine connections.
And that's the key takeaway.
Okay,
Cultural sensitivity is fundamental to building a global brand.
I'm with you.
It's about understanding your audience,
Yeah.
showing empathy,
Uh-huh.
and creating experiences that resonate on a deeper level.
So we've talked about building a strong brand
Yeah?
and navigating cultural differences,
Mhm.
but there's another huge piece of the puzzle.
Right.
Social media.
Oh, yeah.
It's this double-edged sword, isn't it?
It really is.
On the one hand,
Uh-huh.
companies have this amazing platform to connect with their audience, build
Yeah.
community,
Right.
and share their story.
For sure.
But it's also a breeding ground for negativity,
Uh-huh.
misinformation,
You said it.
and all sorts of reputational landmines.
Yeah. You can be one wrong move away from a total disaster.
And the article uses a perfect example of this. United Airlines
Oh,
and the passenger dragging incident.
Uh-huh.
That video spread like wildfire.
It did.
And United's initial response was awful.
Yeah, they tried to downplay the situation and shift blame.
Which just made things worse.
Right. It was a textbook example of how not to handle a crisis in the age of social media.
And it cost them big time.
It did.
Nearly $1 billion in market value.
It shows how important speed, transparency, and authenticity are in the digital age.
Yeah, when something goes wrong, you need to own it. Address it head on.
Yeah.
And show genuine remorse.
For sure.
But it's not just about reacting to crises.
Right.
The article also talks about brands like Wendy's and Netflix who are actually using social media to their advantage. They're engaging with customers, showcasing their personality, and building a sense of community.
It's about using humor and creativity to connect with your audience.
Right. And those relationships built on trust can be your saving grace when a crisis does hit.
They really can.
It seems like social media can really make or break you these days.
Oh, for sure.
You have to be on your toes constantly. And that's why having a solid crisis management plan is so important.
It's crucial.
And the article actually compares two really different crisis situations.
Okay.
BP's handling of the Deepwater Horizon oil spill.
Right.
And Johnson & Johnson's response to the Tylenol poisonings.
Interesting.
Those are two very different situations.
Yeah.
But both had huge consequences for the companies involved.
Definitely.
What lessons can we learn from them?
Well, with BP, it seemed like everything they did just made things worse.
Like they were digging themselves a deeper hole.
Exactly. Lack of transparency, a CEO who seemed out of touch.
Yeah.
It's a recipe for disaster.
It felt like they were more worried about their image than taking responsibility.
Right.
And addressing the damage they had caused.
And that's what really hurt them.
But Johnson & Johnson, they pulled millions of bottles of Tylenol off the shelves. Immediately.
Even though it cost them a fortune.
Right.
They put consumer safety first.
And people still talk about how well they handled that situation.
It's true. They set the standard for crisis management.
It shows that doing the right thing,
Yeah.
even when it's painful, can actually protect your reputation in the long run.
It's about building trust through actions, not just words.
I like that.
And speaking of tricky situations, the article brings up another thing companies need to be aware of.
Okay.
Geopolitics.
Oh, wow.
Now we're talking about international relations and political sensitivities.
That's a whole other level of complexity.
It is.
Because now you're not just dealing with customers and competitors, you're dealing with governments and global issues.
Right. And they use the example of the NBA in China.
Okay.
Remember when the Houston Rockets GM tweeted his support for the Hong Kong protesters?
Yeah, that caused a huge uproar.
It did. The Chinese government was furious.
Right.
There were boycotts.
Right.
Canceled broadcasts.
It became a diplomatic nightmare.
The NBA was caught in the middle.
Yeah.
Do they support free speech or protect their business interests in China?
It's a tough spot to be in.
It is, and it shows that in a globalized world, your actions can have unintended consequences.
Right.
You have to be aware of the political landscape and understand the potential risks.
Okay, so let's say a company has already messed up.
Okay.
And their reputation has taken a hit. Can they ever really come back from that?
That's a good question. And the article talks about this idea of reputation laundering.
Reputation laundering?
Yeah.
What is that?
It's basically trying to change public perception by focusing on positive things or shifting their focus altogether.
So it's like trying to clean up their past.
Right. But it can only work if the change is genuine.
They
use BP as an example. They're investing heavily in green energy.
Even though they're still in the fossil fuel business.
Right. They're trying to position themselves as leaders in renewable energy.
So is it working?
It depends on whether consumers believe them.
Okay.
Is it a sincere effort to change or just a PR stunt to distract from their past mistakes?
What about Facebook?
Now Meta.
Yeah.
Their pivot to the metaverse.
Is that reputation laundering too?
Well, some people see it that way.
Okay.
They've had a lot of problems. Data privacy, misinformation.
Yeah.
The metaverse could be an attempt to escape all that.
To create a whole new narrative.
Exactly, but it all comes down to authenticity. If it feels fake, it will backfire.
But if it's a real effort to evolve and change, then it might work.
Reputation is built on trust, and trust takes time.
You can't just spin your way out of trouble.
Nope.
You have to prove yourself.
Through your actions.
Speaking of competition, the article mentions McDonald's and Burger King.
Okay, the burger wars.
Yeah, they're always taking jabs at each other.
It's a classic example of using humor
Uh-huh.
and a little friendly competition
Right.
to stay top of mind.
But there's a line, right?
Yeah.
When does playful banter become harmful?
When it gets too personal, too aggressive,
Yeah.
or mean-spirited.
Right. People can tell when a brand is being genuine versus when they're just trying to tear someone down.
And negativity rarely wins.
It's a reminder that even in a competitive market,
Yeah.
there's room for respect.
Definitely you're all trying to win over the same customers.
And at the end of the day, your biggest asset is your employees.
Oh, absolutely.
We often think of reputation as something external.
Right.
But it really starts from within.
It does. Your employees are the face of your company.
Right.
They interact with customers. They share their experiences online.
Right.
They represent your brand in the community. So if they're unhappy or disengaged,
Right.
that's going to show. The article talks about the Google walkouts.
Oh, right.
When your own employees are protesting against you, that sends a powerful message.
It shows how important it is to invest in your employees.
Yeah. Create a positive work environment. Make them feel valued. Because happy employees are your best advocates.
Makes sense.
They'll go the extra mile for you, and they'll speak positively about your company. But unhappy employees, they can really damage your reputation. They can leak information, spread negativity.
Right.
It's a nightmare.
That's why companies like Patagonia are so interesting.
Yeah.
They're known for being ethical and employee-centric. Their employees are passionate about the brand.
Yeah.
And that shows in everything they do.
It's a great example of how aligning your internal culture with your external values can create a win-win situation.
So it all comes back to that idea.
Yeah.
Reputation is currency. And investing in your employees.
It is investing in your reputation.
Okay. So we've talked about a lot.
Creative crisis management.
Cultural sensitivity.
Employee advocacy.
It seems like companies have their work cut out for them.
It's a lot to juggle.
And it's only getting more challenging.
With the rise of AI.
AI. How does that fit into all of this?
Well, the article ends with a thought-provoking question.
Okay.
What happens when deepfakes can make your CEO say anything?
Whoa. Deepfakes.
Yeah.
That's where things get really scary.
It is the ability to create fake videos that look totally real, that could destroy a company's reputation in minutes.
So how can companies protect themselves?
It feels like a whole new era of reputation warfare. The article suggests that the future of reputation management is going to be heavily reliant on technology.
Okay, so like what kind of technology are we talking about?
AI-powered monitoring tools
Okay.
that can scan the web for threats, real-time fact-checking systems, digital identity verification.
So it's about making sure that the information is coming from a legitimate source.
Exactly.
So it's not just about having a good PR team anymore.
No.
You need a whole arsenal of tools.
To fight back against misinformation.
And protect your brand from attacks.
And you need a partner who knows what they're doing.
Which brings us back to stature optics management.
And their bare knuckles approach.
I gotta admit that tagline really grabbed my attention.
It's memorable.
It sounds kind of aggressive.
Yeah.
But in today's world, where companies are under constant scrutiny, maybe that's what you need.
I think they're trying to project strength and proactiveness.
So they're not messing around.
No, they're going to be out there fighting for their clients.
So what exactly do they do?
Well, they offer crisis management, strategic messaging, digital reputation defense.
It sounds like they cover all the bases.
It's a holistic approach.
And with everything we've talked about today, that kind of comprehensive approach seems essential.
Definitely, companies need a partner who can help them navigate this complex landscape.
Okay, so let's say you're a company. And you're looking for help with reputation management.
Yeah.
What are some questions you should ask potential partners?
Like stature optics. Well, first of all, you need to understand their experience. Their track record? Have they handled similar situations before?
Right.
What are their specialties?
It's like checking references.
Exactly, but on a much bigger scale.
You want to make sure they can handle your specific needs.
And it's not just about technical expertise.
Right.
You also need to consider their cultural sensitivity, their understanding of the global landscape, their ability to adapt to different situations. It's like with a doctor.
Yeah.
You want to feel comfortable with their approach and their communication style.
Makes sense.
Are they transparent?
Yeah.
Are they proactive? Do they keep you in the loop?
Yeah.
It's about building a strong partnership.
Based on trust.
And mutual respect.
And that's what good reputation management is all about.
Yeah.
Building and maintaining trust.
With your stakeholders.
Exactly. Reputation is all about trust.
It's the foundation of any successful business.
Especially in today's world.
Absolutely.
So Stature Optics and their bare-knuckles approach, they're really positioning themselves as the tough guys.
Yeah.
The ones who will fight for you.
And in a world where the stakes are so high, maybe that's what you need.
But what does bare-knuckles reputation management really mean?
That's a good question.
It can mean a lot of things.
Yeah.
Does it mean being more aggressive or more proactive? Does it mean taking risks?
It's a bit of a mystery.
Which makes me want to know more. It's like a marketing tactic in itself. They're using their branding to generate curiosity
right.
and position themselves as the experts. So one of the key takeaways here is that reputation management is not just about reacting to crises.
No.
It's about being proactive, strategic, and maybe even a little bold.
It's about taking control of the narrative, building a strong defense,
right,
and being prepared to fight for what you believe in.
So Stature Optics is really pushing this idea of reputation as a battleground.
Right, like you have to be ready to fight.
But what are the weapons in this fight?
Well, one of their big things is digital reputation defense.
Okay, makes sense.
Most of the stuff happens online these days.
Yeah, it's like the Wild West out there.
It really is trolls, bots, all sorts of people trying to cause trouble.
So how do you even protect yourself?
It starts with monitoring.
Okay.
You need to know what's being said about you, where it's being said, and who's saying it.
So how do you do that?
AI. There are tools that can scan the entire internet.
Wow.
For mentions of your brand, your products, your executives.
So it's like a digital surveillance system?
Kind of.
You're always watching for threats.
Exactly. And you need multiple layers of protection.
Okay.
It's not just about reacting to bad stuff. It's about building a strong online presence.
So you're less vulnerable to attacks.
Right. It's offense and defense.
And you're not just blocking punches. You're throwing some, too.
Exactly. And that's where things like SEO and content marketing come in.
Okay.
You want to control what people see when they search for you online.
So you're monitoring, you're creating content, you're optimizing search results.
Yeah.
What else?
Sometimes you have to fight fire with fire.
Like, what do you mean?
If you're being attacked by trolls or bots, you might need to deploy your own digital defenders.
Wait, are you saying you should hire people to post fake comments?
No, not fake comments.
Okay.
But you can encourage your real supporters to speak up. You can partner with influencers.
So it's about amplifying the voices of your actual fan.
Exactly. Create a wave of positivity.
To drown out the negativity.
Right. And remember, this is all happening globally.
Yeah.
What works in one country might not work in another.
So you need a team that understands different cultures. Okay, so back to Stature Optics.
Yeah.
Do you think their bare-knuckles approach is the right way to go?
It's definitely a strong message.
It sounds kind of aggressive, though.
I think it's about conveying a sense of urgency.
Okay.
And a willingness to fight for what you believe in.
But does it have to be a fight?
I mean, ideally, no.
Right.
But there are people out there who want to cause harm.
So you have to be ready to defend yourself.
It's like having a strong immune system.
Okay.
You need to be able to fight off infections.
And in the digital world, your reputation is your health.
Exactly. And prevention is key.
How do you prevent these attacks?
By building trust, transparency, authenticity.
So you're less vulnerable.
Right. It's about creating a positive force field around your brand.
I like that.
And that's where Stature Optics comes in.
Okay.
They're not just about putting out fires. They're about building a reputation that can withstand anything.
Well, this has been a fascinating look at the world of reputation management.
It has.
It's clear that reputation is more important than ever.
Absolutely.
And protecting it takes a strategic approach, a proactive approach, and maybe even a bare-knuckles approach.
Right. The key takeaway here is that reputation is a journey.
Not a destination.
It's something you have to work at constantly.
But with the right partners and the right strategies.
You can build a reputation that will last.
And that's what it's all about.
Thanks for having me.
It was great having you on the show.
Yeah.